So those are the terms we're going to use in our future classes. Whenever we mention that, I need you to have a clear mind like what it is. Okay. This is also our language. Okay, in the world of economy. So we're going to learn goods and services, consumers and producers, and also consumer goods and producer goods. And then we're going to learn utility, the value, and we're going to learn perfect competition versus monopoly. We're going to learn price, demand, revenue, cost, and profit. And I would say the last 5 are the most important things. And actually, all the future classes is going to be around these 5 things. Okay? And cost, we have already learned some of it. We know fixed cost and variable cost. That's good. So we will dig more about how to estimate costs. Okay? And now let's just start to learn these new concepts. Goods and services. Very easy to distinguish. Goods, they're something you consume, something you use, especially something you can touch, so tangible things. Like the donut, you touch it, you eat it, okay? The toothpaste, you use it, okay? The shoes, you wear it. And the car, you drive it. The doll, you play with it, okay? Those are the things you can touch, and you need them, you use them. And on the other side, the service. Service is something intangible. You don't see it, but you still need to consume it. Like the service provided by a doctor, okay? Well, doctor is a person in real. Of course, it's tangible, but the service from the doctor is intangible, okay? And that is service. And the service from a taxi, okay? The taxi car itself is a product, is a goods. But the service of moving you from point A to point B, that's not tangible. That's the service we talk about here. And the babysitter, okay? Babysitter service, take care of your kids. That's the service. And pet groomer, okay? The groomer himself or the tools he used is a goods. But the service to clean your pets, to give it a shampoo, okay, or to give it a haircut, that service is intangible. Okay, so goods are something tangible and service are the things intangible. But I think they are very easy to distinguish. And then the consumer and producer. Consumer is the person who used that product or who used that service. And producer is the one on the other side who produced that goods or who provide that service. Okay? And that's easy to understand. But here, consumer goods and producer goods, they're all goods. Okay? They're all tangible things. But the consumer goods are those goods that satisfy the wants of a consumer directly. So the goods you as a consumer use, like that toothpaste, like that shoes, okay? But producer goods are those goods which satisfy the wants of a consumer indirectly, like the wants of a producer. Okay, so for example, this man is buying goods, right? Looks like he's a consumer, but the purpose of buying these goods is to provide raw material, foods for the hotel, for producing meals in the hotel, okay? So those goods are used for the production, not for the direct consumption of a person. So this is producer goods, okay? So think about the difference, okay? If this man is buying something for himself to consume, that's gonna be consumer goods, okay? Here are the other concepts like utility. Utility, here the utility is not like the utility you pay for in your rental, like the electricity, garbage, water. No, not those things. Here the utility is the power or the functioning of a product. What it means. So, for example, metal, like iron, raw iron, right? The raw iron itself is very cheap and it's useless for normal people like us. If you give me a ton of raw iron, well, I don't want to accept that. It's just a waste for me. It doesn't have any function at all, right? But if somebody put the raw iron in the factory and after some type of procedure or process, that raw material become a car, okay? Well, it's still made of iron or steel or metal, but now it has a function, okay? Although it could be more expensive, but with the function, I will consider to buy it, okay? So that function embedded in this raw material is utility. To make something useful for the consumers, okay? And the way you make something become useful, sometimes it's the change of the material form, okay? Like you change the shape of the material, you change the ingredients in the material to make it useful. Sometimes it's the change of the location, okay? So some material is useless in one location, but it maybe in another location it's useful. So to make things from useless to useful, to give it a function so that producers will need it, will want it, that's called utility, okay? And the second, the value. Value is something to measure the utility, okay? So if I say a car is more expensive than a razor blade, although they're all made of maybe iron or steel, the same material, but the function is different, okay? So they have different values. And the third thing is, okay, now we talk about the competition and the market. So perfect competition means in the market, you have multiple suppliers and those suppliers are free to enter or exit this market, okay? There's no fee to enter, there's no punishment to exit. And free to sell or buy, okay? If you want to sell the product, you can. If you want to stop selling it, yes, you can. And the purchase is also free. You can choose whatever you want to buy, okay? And the perfect competition is the ideal and easiest condition for economic analysis. So ideally, our models and the functions are all based on this free, perfect competition. Okay, and one example you can think of is eBay. If you have never sold or bought something on eBay, you know the rule, right? So everybody can be a customer. Everybody can be a seller. You just need to fill some forms and give some credit record, and then you can build up your profile to sell anything you want. Okay, and you also can go to the eBay to buy anything you want. So there is no punishment or no extreme fee. Maybe they have some service fee for the website, but there's no extreme fee for you to enter or exit. So this is one example you can think of as a perfect competition. The opposite side of a perfect competition is called monopoly. Monopoly means on the market you only have one single supplier. Okay, so that one single supplier will determine the market, especially the price. That single supplier will determine how much one product sells and how many products on the market. So that supplier has the control of the market. It sounds very unhealthy, okay? Because if somebody, just one company control the price, then the customers won't have the ability to negotiate, okay? You can only buy it or not buying it. You don't have the power to negotiate about the price because you don't have other choices. Well, rarely occur. This is unhealthy. So this is something our nation doesn't allow for. So we have regulations on merging. So if there are two big companies who sell electricity and it turned out they want to marry and they want to merge as one big company, that's not that's hard, and that's probably not possible in our nation because there are regulations, and if you want to do this you have to go up to a lot of process for the government to approve. So it's very hard. And also we got substitutes. Okay, so those are the things the government will make sure there's no single monopoly in the market. All right, and here, these are the left 4 concepts. They're very important, okay? If we say the previous ones are just language, like you just need to understand. But these 4, you really need to know what's their definition, how do you calculate them, okay? So pay attention. First, price. Price is how much you sell or how much you pay for a unit of product. We usually say price per product, price per unit in this subject, okay? And the demand, so price is something you can think as value, okay? It's just value, sometimes it's maybe not monetary, but price is always monetary. And it's always in some unit, like US dollars, Canadian dollars, Japanese yen, okay? That's the difference. But it's a quantification of the utility. It's a term of value. And demand. Demand is how many units of a product you sell or are consumed on the market per day, per month, or per year. So if we talk about demand, we always think about like how long, what's the period, right? It's a cumulative number. It's like the demand, like the products you sell per day, the product you sell per hour, if it's really popular, okay? Or the products you sell per month. So you always connect that amount of products to some time frame. So that's the demand. And the revenue. Revenue is the total amount of income generated by the sale of goods or services. Let me give you an example. So if you're running that bread shop, okay, so every night, if you're the boss, you're so happy because it's the time for you to count the money in the cashier box, in the machine. Okay, you sit there and you're so happy, you're excited to know like how much you have in that box. And you count, and then it end up with maybe $1,000. Well, is that the time you feel so happy? Not yet, because think about that. That 1,000 is not is not your profit. It's just the total income. And now you have to think about, okay, what's the bill I have to pay for today? Like, what's the material cost? What is the electricity cost? What is the rental cost for one day? You have to average them on a single day. And then that's your cost, right? So now you need to use the $1,000 revenue minus the cost for running the shop for a day. And then what left is the number you can happy for. Okay? If you have heavy cost, then maybe you only end up with $200 per day. Well, if you manage to low your cost to 200, and then you end up with 800 per day, and that's the moment you can feel happy, because that $800 is gonna be your profit. That's what you earn in your pocket. Okay, so revenue is not the figure you're happy for. Okay, whenever you see the revenue, it only tells you how much you sell and how many products you sell. It only tells you the market itself, the market needs. That's not the number you're gonna happy for, because it's not the real money you gain in your pocket. You have to think about the costs. All right, so last, profit. That's the thing you pursue, and that's the thing you can happy for. Okay, if you got high number for profit, congratulations. If you got low number for profit, well, you need to think about the solutions. Okay, and so profit typically called net profit or the bottom line, because really profit is the goal. You want to have the profit at least bigger than zero, so that you are earning money, not losing. Okay, so profit is the amount of income that remains after accounting for all expenses, debts, additional income streams, and operating costs. So profit is the net thing. It's like considering all the other expenses. What do you have left? Okay, so price, demand, revenue, profit. And here should be our old friend cost. But since we have already learned so much things about cost in the previous class, so I didn't write it down here. But these are the 5 things we're going to study.